Today, on Energizing India, we are looking at one of the least glamorous but most critical parts of the electric mobility transition, the powertrain. Everyone talks about batteries, charging stations, and vehicle launches. But somewhere between the battery and the wheels sits the real engineering battle. Motors, controllers, gearboxes, axles, software, thermal performance, reliability, localization, and ultimately cost. My guest today is Vijay Thakur, founder and CEO of Suyo Manufacturing, a company trying to build that powertrain stack from India for Indian operating conditions and eventually for global markets as well. Vijay's journey is interesting because Suyo is not just selling a component. It is in fact attempting something much harder to prove that India can move from just EV assembly to EV technology ownership. That means competing not only with domestic players, but with China's scale, cost, speed, and supply chain depth. So today, we will talk about whether India is early or late or just in time, what it really takes to build a deep tech manufacturing company here, how Suyo has funded his journey, and how Vijay hopes to build success over the next decade. Vijay, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Vijay, you're founder and CEO of Suyo, your own company. What does your company do?
We are basically into the EV powertrain design, development, and manufacturing. And when I say powertrain, means it is the motor, controller, and the transmission.
Excellent. So, when people think of EVs, they think of the big brands, they think of batteries, they think of chargers. The powertrain is invisible. You decided to invest in one invisible part of the EV value chain. Why is the powertrain matter so much in the Indian EV transition?
If you just look at from the perspective of the automotive, we do understand like automotive has a very strong legacy in India. We know Tata, we know Mahindra, we know Ashok Leyland, we know Maruti, everybody's there. So I don't think like it is really a justice when you look at just creating or recreating the fabrication of the vehicle, because people are smarter. Already India is pretty good and established in this, and there is 150 years of legacy in automotive. Now come to the transition from ICE to EV. In that case, there are major two pivots in the vehicle, which are, you can say, as a tech specific, and we are driven by the engineering. So definitely we are looking for the components where we can really contribute, not as what already existing and the people are already pioneer. So then there is a battery, which is a part of power source, battery and charger. And then there's a powertrain, which is a motor and controller. So the whole vehicle experience is managed by the motor. So motor is something which is the heart of the vehicle. Battery, where the everything is decided by the cells. And cells, we don't have any control because cells are coming from China or the Korea or the Japan. We don't have any control in the cells chemistry. So I thought like motor is something as a subject which has to be the heart of the vehicle. And from the India specific innovation, this is the place where we can really contribute.
Tell me the name Suyo. How did you come up with that? It's spelled Tsuyo, so it has almost a Japanese connotation.
Yes, it is a Japanese word, very much Japanese, Suyo. And so there are, I would say, 4 to 5 perspectives while choosing the Suyo. First, definitely because we are into the powertrain, making motors. The analogy of the meaning rests with the strength, the durability, the sustainability, the reliability part, and Suyo means strength. Okay, so this is something which is very correlates, like it correlates with the motor part. And second, because if you look into my credentials where I have worked previously, so I was a part of manufacturing, engineering, and all, and that's something which is very close to the Japan. I worked in Japan for almost 2 years with the Hitachi, and I have seen the R&D and everything. So very close to the Japanese culture and the manufacturing, I would say. And I work very closely with the JICA. And recently also delegated our Indian team to the Japan delegation, and we were there. So very close working with. We have mentors from Japan, and that's why the Suyo is something which is very. I would say like that was a selection which we had and meant a meaning to the company.
So let's talk about Suyo's strength then. Your background is you're an IIM Calcutta graduate. You worked with Tata Motors. You worked with TCS. You were in Japan working with Hitachi. And then you invested in a sector that is very competitive against the Chinese. And I can tell you this from personal experience because in 2022, we invested in EV chargers, in hydrogen power systems, in battery tech. And when you look back 4 years later, you can almost scratch your head and go, wow, that was a leap of faith, because the competition is from China, and China is so overwhelmingly dominant in their technology and cost advantage. Do you suffer a lot from Chinese competition, being an Indian company trying to make powertrains in India for the Indian automotive sector?
I think your observation is pretty right, and I would say like China is number one in this EV curve, and they are pretty mature also in terms of the products and the kind of segments the EV are into. So whether it's a Europe or Asian countries or wherever you feel like China is dominating, and they have like almost average more than 60% of the EV conversion already on the road. So it definitely is. I would say like yes, China is the biggest competition we are having, but at the same time, China has done so many things like which is really becoming a kind of understanding the whole segment, understanding the product, complete product life cycle, and also the maturity of the technology. So this is something which China has already discovered, and also helping Indian and other countries people who are trying to get into this kind of tech to just have this handshake much more in advance rather just rediscovering a lot of stuffs. Okay, so this I would say like this is making our job much easier. First, second, yes, as a China as a competition, they are putting a lot of pressure in terms of pricing because they're very competitive because they have a scale. We don't have a scale. This is the only difference I would say. But when I tell about the tech, then tech, I don't think like I don't see like China is really something where we should really scare about, because yes, they are ahead because they have started early. We are going to be ahead because we have seen China already. Okay, so this is something which we have an advantage. So this is not a first foot in door. So for any technology cycle, if you'll see, so there is a early adopters and early failures also. So on this technology curve, it is good like we have China first, and we have seen success and failure, and we can easily choose the path. Correct. So this is something I think this is a very good help for us. Coming to the market part, China is dominating across the globe. For the India's demand and the requirement in terms of automotive is very stringent. The kind of compliance, the kind of government check, then kind of competition in terms of the process, the discipline, the supply conditions, then after sales support, the product abuse, expectation from the design, the safety factors pretty high. Where China is really lagging. See, China is good in terms of fulfilling your demand, but it's not good in terms of fulfilling all your supplying condition. So there we found the white space, and we found like here we can compete with the China. I can compete on the after sales service. I can compete on the customization, because you want something as a custom product for the Indian market, Indian geographical condition. Then China is something which is delayed. Like they don't, because they believe in scale. So it's a off the self product which they can offer. For us, like it is a customized product, boutique solution which we can offer, and that's where we lead.
So you don't focus on two-wheelers, and you're
No.
looking at more light trucks up to heavy trucks.
Yes.
That's your niche space.
That's our the niche space, and we're very clear because if you look at the segment in EV, all the small motors and especially two-wheeler with the hub motors and all, they have become already a commodity. There's no technological competence which really required. It is more of like a price-driven market, and it's cluttered by Chinese. More than 95% market share is China, and you can see unless until you do 50,000 or at least 1 lakh products per month, you are not in the game. You can't even have a break even. So, and this is where like we are lacking, because India is a price sensitive, and people still 95% people just go to China and bring the product. So you can't just compete. So it's better to be in a place where the technology is competence, and where you can really put your contribution towards the value engineering, and where you can command premium. And that's something which can create an entry barrier for the China also. So we have developed many technology and frontiers which are where we are having IPs and very special. And that's we feel like this is something where our space is secure and also powerful. We can create some good value out of it, and that is why two-wheeler is out of our consideration.
So you focus on the 1 ton to 100 ton kind of space, if I understand correctly. I'm interested in two questions. Have you got a Chinese tech license? Have you developed it yourself completely? And my second question is, in that space that you're in, where is the biggest growth going to come in the next 3 years?
Okay, so I just take this question as a three different part. Look, first is like our portfolio and our target. So first is like we are very specific to the commercial, not even passenger. We are not going into the car. We are not going to the two-wheeler segment and all. So, and reason is very clear. Like where there is a very big scale, there is always a clutter and there is always no value to the technology. It is more of like capex oriented and just print, build to print and all. So, but we are into the build to design. So we are more specific to the commercial segment, whether it's a three-wheeler, it's a four-wheeler, it's a off-road and all. So we have divided into the on-road and off-road segment. So on-road segment, we are already into the three-wheeler and four-wheeler, all kind of commercial vehicle, whether it's going up to 100-tonner truck also. And we have customers in that. And for the off-road category, which are also getting very promising, you must have looked at the kind of startups or the companies who are focusing, and we have customer like who are into the agricultural tractors, which is becoming electrical. Then you have a lawn mower which is becoming electrical. There you have already kind of product which are like a golf cart and other segments. So these are some off-road segments which are coming, and then industrial segments like forklift, electric forklift. We are working very big companies in this segment already, and that's something very promising. And which makes meaning because OPEX is very less. Then coming to the complete off-road category, which is a construction equipment segment, which is a excavator and kind of wheel loaders or backhoe loaders or mining trucks. And there also we are already positioned with many companies, already foot in door, product trial going on. And that's something where we can really create a good value. So this is our focus in terms of portfolio. And in terms of the growth of the market, if you see, I would say commercial is something which makes meaning. Still, people are very apprehensive about the charging infrastructure, then like after sale support, the road assistance and everything. So all this like there are apprehension and there's something like adoption is going to be little slow. But the same time commercial, which is just a livelihood, which is a money making game where the people monetize the skill. So that's the where even e-rickshaw people who is just driving on the road or the people who is driving a truck also, they monetize on their OPEX. So this is something which where it makes meaning and it is getting adopted very fast. Even the government has realized and put up the PM e-drive, and you can see the kind of initiative they are taking for the trucks market and all. So this is something I like growing market and the impetus of the government and also the manufacturers are very high.
So let's talk the first part about the question, the technology development. Was it 100% Indian or did you get some Chinese license?
Yeah. So in that, like, because being a startup, we have also certain bandwidth constraint and the timeline and the people are very, you can say, quite curious in terms of having EV adoption faster. So you have to have a better go-to market where there is a product which is 50-60 kilowatt category. And that is, you can say, consider like almost 7 to 10 ton kind of. That is like completely own technology. We are doing everything on own. And where there is a heavy mining trucks and all, where definitely the product development cycle is pretty high. So we have taken a support, and there like there is our partner who are working together. It is not any technology licensing; it is more of a joint engineering, and we are leveraging their strength in terms of doing prototype faster and all. And that is basically a Chinese partner, which is a Lucon. And they are pretty good because they hold more than 55% market share in this. So we are learning from the best from China also and trying to leverage this option. But yeah, for with them, everything is getting done as a localized. So everything we are doing here. So we have taken a very big land, 20-acre facility, which is you remove China. So minus China, it is going to be number one plant in whole world because this kind of electric motor plant nobody is having in the world. So and having a dedicated testing track, which is going to be 2.5 acre, which nobody is having. Mostly OEMs try to have this kind of testing track, which we have envisaged and which we are going to put in the plant. So that's a very unique.
Excellent. So, what's going through my head, Vijay, is that you're innovating to create solutions or products for India in the context where India is not an innovation economy, right? India is a scale-up economy because the way India is structured, it's really the big companies, and the big companies do not know how to take entrepreneurial risk. They only know how to take an idea that's proven and then scale it, right? And yet here, where you do not have an ecosystem of great quality engineers, you do not have an ecosystem of electric vehicle research and development, you are trying to innovate in India, an Indian solution. I'm interested for our audience, what were the big roadblocks, challenges, and near-death experiences you had on that journey, and how you overcame them.
Yeah, so you're very right in terms of like in India, like till now, in fact, the way the automotive tier one or tier two companies were doing the business, or in fact doing the business right now also, they're not carrying that DNA of having the captive innovation or captive R&D setup, and the whole structure was pivot around the build to print scenario, build to specification, and all those things. So driven by the OEMs mostly, and that was something which basically I would say like that created the kind of inertia and complacent with the skills also, who rely on this kind of working process, the discipline, the whole mindset, the thought process. But yeah, now it is changing. For the last 4 5 years, I would say like the kind of impetus by the government and also the startups who are coming big way, not only in the automotive, in the defense, in the aviation, and that is totally deep tech and driven by the innovation and engineering excellence, and that's what's happening. So yes, challenges are there because you have the big sharks which are sitting in your own market, and they always look at to you, and when you do the things like it's something where you have to really encroach those boundaries, and there where like you have to compete with them, at the same time you have to make an acquisition with the customers where they are already be, and that's something like where there's a big credibility of these guys. So these challenges are always there. We had this bottlenecks and very, you can say, the as a business near to death experience where we had been really pushed to the corner, we had been threatened, we had been really cornered in a different way in terms of pricing and other, where the tier one people just tried to remove us from the basically the from the RFQ side, and the participation in the that SOP and all, where with the big customers. And so this was definitely a problem, and this is something like it is ongoing. It is something which we can't just remove it because it's a part of the system. But at the same time, this kind of constraint really makes you hard, and really makes you also a kind of strong in terms of standing against them. One example I would also give, like in terms of when they were failing, they also tried to came to us and they offered us the investment, and they tried to have a kind of acquisition. Uh, there's no surprise as such. Within 1 or 2 years of business, we got almost 12 term sheet, 12 term sheet in 12 investment opportunities, and from all these big companies. I won't take name here, but yeah, and in fact, we also onboarded one guy, but somehow later we realized like our manifestations are on a different line. They wanted something else, we wanted something else. So again, we realized that there's an acquisition drive, and then we got managed to separate it, and then now we also got onboarded with the investor from the financial world, which is VC, and we preferred like have a financial support from the financial institution rather having this kind of partners, because
Yeah.
Indian DNA is very different. So that's something
Yeah.
I would say like these are the experiences which were really not good,
Yeah.
and I would say like these are not healthy also, because it is always good to have a co-creation and synergy. If there is a big guy, then they can handle off their industry
Yes.
peers, and they can really take them to a different level, and it is something as a where there is some synergy of the innovation, some synergy of the capital, some synergy of the experience,
Yeah.
and that can create a very lethal weapon for the global market. But that's what not happening actually in sense.
So it's interesting. The point you make is that your biggest challenges weren't developing the tech or finding the talent or creating product. Your biggest challenge was the Indian environmental ecosystem, where the bigger companies were trying to kill you
Yes.
or buy you rather than supporting your growth, like would happen in Japan or Korea and also in China.
Because they create all kind of troubles like poaching your resource, threatening your resources, blocking your capital, blocking your customers. So all the challenges what you are telling, these are like culminated with one guy,
Yeah.
one face, which is your big brothers in the industry. So this is something like if you take care of this, then all the things are sorted.
So the normal hypothesis is if you make a tech that is groundbreaking, you should find success on your own. And yet your journey has proved that no, in the end, you're still going to be in a bit of a snake pit in the environment here, and you have to find your strength through it. I want to talk about something more positive at this moment. Suyo, your company, has also worked on rare earth-free magnetless motor technology, and we all remember last year when Trump in China had this big hiccup. In China, said rare earth magnet export is going to be curtailed. The entire Indian bus industry, the EV buses, they were going to put out 5 or 10,000 buses last year, had a bit of a heart attack moment, going, how are we going to deal with this? And I remember reading about your company coming up with this technology. It was going to save India. Tell us about this. Where are you with this tech? How did you come up with this tech? Where is it going in the future? Do you have interest from Indian companies?
As I said, because we are into the research pipeline, and as a company, it's not about only business. We have two components. One is like where is the core R&D who works for next 2-3 years. We have very very beautiful pipeline in terms of research, and it's not independent. We are working very close with the government and academia. So we have a tripartite agreement and try to safeguard the whole research and also strengthen the research to the government grant and all, and keep on investing our time, effort, money towards the research, which is going to get some commercialization maybe after 2-3 years down the line. But we are working right now. There are another part of the R&D who works in a constant negotiation and transaction with the customers with whom we are working on our current products, right? So when we talk about that, this magnetless part, which is something which became very hot, and that became very hot when all this global crisis happened towards the rare earth and all. But you'll be surprised, like we had already done this design 2.5 years back. So as a part of our R&D mandate and motto, which I just explained you, like we always work 2-3 years ahead. But what happened, it was just a design, but we never put it into the commercialization because nobody is ready to accept it, because there is a use case, and there is a use case in terms of everything: supplying feasibility, manufacturing feasibility, the pricing, the supplier ecosystem for making those kind of motors. So it is not about the tech only. So tech is ready, but the thing is, like, the other ecosystem, including your customer, has to really ready and acknowledged. So that was missing. So we never proposed, we never told anybody, but it was in the pipeline of IP and everything. So we got our IP also last year. So because we had done it long back itself. So
Right,
we
you
are the
mean
only,
patent.
yeah. So patent is already done, and we are the only company in India right now as a motor without magnet. Not about even the rare earth free. It is magnet free. So it is something which is in the category of SYN-RM, which we have developed, synchronous reluctance motor, which is having a very special structure inside of the motor. The rotor is having a very unique structure, which is patented, and patent is granted. And now the prototype is almost commercialized also. But yes, we don't have a very wide acceptance by the industry because industry is waiting for the time to come. But we are ready with everything.
So what is the core difference in performance? Why is the industry waiting? What is the compromise on going to a magnetless motor?
See, the idea is to, like, if somebody says a magnetless motor can really compete with rare earth motors like PMSM and all, I won't say like it is true, because it's very common sense. You have a permanent magnet inside a motor which is working. Then you have a scenario where you don't have the magnet. You are creating the magnet essence, the flux, through virtual interface or through certain different intervention of the technology, which is trying to replace the magnet uses. So it can be a near, or it can just try to compromise certain particular part, and then it can suffice certain condition. But I would say it is not a one-to-one replacement. It is always like PMSM is more compact, very very strength, full motor, and very powering. You can't replace it one-to-one. Yes, if you want to replace, then sometimes your size will be bigger. Sometimes you'll have a noise. Sometimes so you have to compensate on certain part, certain attributes. So it is really wrong to say as a tech guy, like it is going to be a one-to-one replacement. Many people try to confuse the market, but it is not like that. Nobody can prove it. It is not possible. It is impossible. I'm just telling on air. If somebody is trying to misguide customer or anybody, please. And that is why customer understand, because see, as a user, you are buying a car, or maybe you are buying a motorcycle. You are paying. you don't have to really bother about what motor goes into this. You say, I am paying you a price. You give me the vehicle which is having the best tech, which is going to have the similar experience or better experience from the ICE vehicle, correct? So you don't bother about like whether it's a AC induction, either SIN RM, axial flux, or PMSM. No, as a user, I want a best vehicle, correct? So in that case, the people who are into the vehicle manufacturing, they just see like what best I can offer. The supply chain I have to negotiate with my own ecosystem, but I can't tell customer, oh, okay, this is something environment friendly. This is something which the government has says. This is something somebody is saying. You have to take this. It is something which. So this is something which is a, you can say, a conscious decision by the user. Slowly change and shift of the behavior, the whole ecosystem, and everybody has to think, and then you can start adopting. But yes, having said that, there are an application which is off-road. Let's suppose your vehicle is going to agriculture, your vehicle is going to work in the mines.
Space
You-
is not a constraint.
Space is not a constraint. You don't need to bother about the noise. It is okay because we're driving engine. The tractor is making so much noise. Why you need PMSM? So you can adopt there. So this is something about the application specific, duty cycle specific, and then it's a very good use case. And that is why we are ready with the tech. So
Excellent.
we are just trying to see fitment.
Have you got a lot of support from government when you announced that you had a magnetless motor?
Yeah. So not before the research, we never approached because we were not knowing government is really serious about that. But yeah, now the government is serious. So we have applied for some grant, like so that we can invest more because I would say like we are trying to get into some very, very lucrative segment, which is railway, and trying to be there railway as a startup. Nobody's there. And we are trying our best to get into railway with the magnetless motor and going to be a complete make in India. So there, like we are trying to get some support where we can invest more into the tech and ready the big motors for the government using this kind of mass transit communication.
Excellent. So let's talk about funding. You're a startup. You're a first-gen entrepreneur. You've done this yourself. You've been very smart at the sector you focused at. You haven't gone for the red ocean. You've gone to the blue ocean. You've been intelligent about where the tech comes from, developing some yourself, racing ahead with some Chinese partnership. You recently raised institutional capital. So I'm interested how that journey was and also your insights into whether VCs and the financial sector are now starting to understand hardware in the energy transition space, or they still are more in favor of the software style investments?
Yeah, you're right. Because as I said, like there was a kind of investment legacy more towards this kind of software base and service sectors and all. Manufacturing is something which is a recent happened and recent engagement by the investors. So yes, I would say like it's not like 100% the investors who are trying to acclaim as like they are deep tech investor. They are product oriented. They are really getting into the whole thick and thin of it. But yes, there are few investors who are really good. I have spoken to few guys. They are really I really am amazed to see. Yes, because you are interacting with so many startups, so you get to understand so many tech very easily and summarized way. So and they are intelligent. They are putting money, so they are very intelligent. So they are picking the subject very fast. So I would say like there is a shift which is happening. And many companies in this space and the VC partners are really understanding the subject. And there are few players who understand subject very well. So there is a big hope in that line because the way they will understand the subject, it will be good for us also to whom we can really, because most important, understanding the subject to understand the worth of the company. So sometimes like what happened, they understand certain part. They say, oh, okay. It is good. Like you have this worth. Let's have this investment and let's have this valuation. So it's not about the, and sometimes they say like, why you guys are crying about the valuation? I would say like, it's not about the valuation, bro. It's important about to understand the manufacturing. Service company can survive without any capex. The other companies can also survive without. This is the only sector as a manufacturing where you always need valuation, even X plus something which you feel as a responsibility, because manufacturing is a subject where you have a lot of resource complexities, capex complexity, working capital cycle, then innovation, R&D, the sunk cost, so many things. And this is an investment for the future. And it is not a cycle where you see like 4 or 5 years. You have to see a bigger cycle. This particular industry altogether is a different game. So my humble request, and I only urge not only to understand the subject, also to understand the psyche of the industry. This is not your financial company like Paytm or Jepto or like Ola or Uber and kind of company. It is more about like company where it's a curation, it's an incubation of the like mind and energy and thought process, and it needs time to create this generation. It's a banyan tree. It's not a very small orchard and mango tree kind.
A banyan tree. That's a really nice way to describe it. Are you able to disclose how much you raised and who your partner was?
Uh, Last year we raised from Avana Capital, their sustainability fund, and they are also the part of the AIF fund. And we raised 4.5 million with them, and we found this partner really, really well. And they are pretty good and supporting towards this ecosystem. And best part, they understand the subject, and they are very patient enough. And we just started with the journey with them. While we had another journey with the tier one company also, as what I said, like that was a very different all experience altogether. But I would say like this is a part of life, and you have always a good experience because this is also a learning. So and now looking forward to raise more fund maybe towards year end, because we are into the greenfield expansion, which is a very, very big project, and where we are eyeing for a better valuation to have a better money to expand, because we are sitting on enough of the order book, and we are sitting on the enough of the opportunity. And this sector, as I explained, like how this is very unique sector among the whole EV ecosystem, whether it's a battery, whether it's charger, whether it's making a vehicle and making a powertrain. It's something very, very different. And powertrain is having a blend of hardware and software, because it's a software embedded opportunity also, where we are developing many software in this. And now the AI and all, which is a very new age thing. So we have blend the AI as a part of our hardware, and this is going to be very different now coming upcoming.
So I'm interested. You raise AI, so let's talk about AI. How are you using? You said you've blended AI, so I'm interested what that means, blended AI into your product, and also how you are using AI at the moment in your design to accelerate whatever developments.
So
you're
there are
doing.
two aspects. One is like your regular manufacturing activity, because you are in manufacturing, and the whole manufacturing talk about industry 4.0, 5.0 and all, and enough opportunity. I don't need to explain like how you can bring AI. There are a lot of things which are under the carpet, and can't disclose everything, but I can just say one thing is like we are putting a very good layer of the AI on the, and this AI is basically blended AI, means like it is based on the LLM and all, and it is a more of like predictive, and it's an intelligent AI. It's a agentic AI, custom agentic AI platform which we are developing in-house, going to work for a manufacturing process, bring more consistency and more discipline in the quality, and making yourself whole execution more powerful, and building the whole traceability and trackability of the parts, and your you can say the upstream process, your vendor, your incoming inspections, your in-stage processes, WIP, everything is connected as a blockchain. So this is something which we are already building, and it is a part of the process. Another part which is a part of the design and our software. I just give you one part as one hint. We are developing a telematics. I give you a very generic name so that you understand and relate what exactly we are doing. So telematics, you must have seen. Telematics is a very common word used for the vehicle level, and people, everybody's now has become a commodity. I want IoT and telematics on the vehicle. I want to monitor the vehicle, driver's behavior, running condition, parking, theft, everything. This is something which is already there, which in our stack it's there. Other part which is not there, nobody is having right now in the world, I would say, because we are also filing patent in this, where we have developed the hardware with the embedded software part, which is tracking the whole powertrain as a real time. So your powertrain, your motor, and it's not about the motor parametric condition which is external, the parametric condition of the motor parts, the materials, the shaft, the bearings, the lamination, how this is functioning, how this is deforming, how this is basically changing over the period. The whole signature we have developed as a baseline, and the deviation we are basically capturing. and this is something which is a real time. So every second the data is captured. So this is solving 3 4 purpose. One is basically for our, which we are building as a green warranty, as a process of a circular economy. So this is going to be fed into that. And second is our design improvisation, because more and more iteration with your cycle, like duty cycle data, which is having, and the behavior of change of your product real time, which is going to really be a kind of, you can say, a game changer, and it's a shift in the design. So this which we are building, and this data nobody is having, because IDC in India is for the ICE, not for the EV. You have not driven your car for 5 years, correct? It just started. So where my component is going there, and that is the data which I am capturing, and which is going to be more crucial for long term, and that is going to be an asset also. And third important part is like for the, definitely for the insight, for the fleet owner or the people who really wants to have a predictive understanding, insights or warning, not about the vehicle, is your critical parts, because this goes under breakdown and then your vehicle gets stopped. Nothing happens to fabrication. Welding breaks, vehicle doesn't stop, correct? So this is the way this telematics which we have built up already. We have done certain stage, alpha stage done. We have done the third level of iteration. The hardware is ready, already doing the field testing. We'll try to miniaturize the design more and more, and try to commercialize very soon.
Last 2 questions then. Vijay, what does success in 2030 look like for your company, Suyo?
So success in terms of, I would say, like more of the IPs, because uh, revenue, the customer, the growth, the capacity, everything is a, you can say, is a default, and it is already growing. Market is growing, we will also grow. It is more about like reaching to a scale where you establish India also, and definitely your company also on the India map, as a company who had done something as a shift in direction, the shift in the industry, not about making a factory which is going to make only product and scale. It is also like where we have set something very different and can be acknowledged and to be remembered like that. So that is why the IP is something which we always foresee, which we want to create very unique, and not only like number of IPs. It is more about the how crucial and what different IPs which are very very specific and impactful.
I think you might have answered my last question already, but I'll ask it anyway in case you wanted to add something. And that is on a more personal note. You left the safety of a really nice corporate career to form your company, Suyo. When you did that, what were you trying to prove both to yourself and maybe to India?
Um, I think like I had touched upon one part, which is the research, and um I will just repeat the same thing. I think like research is something which we all should focus, and as an entrepreneur, as a first level guy, and it's not about my this company. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have done other companies also and successfully make an exit and all. So I would say like product is my passion, and that is why I always led by the research. Whether this research is really going to work out, going to shape out, doesn't matter. But the research, the whole intent to create and be in the research so that it will create industry. That is important, and that will be my whole focus. And that's why I made a shift from my job, because it was really a good job to be with Hitachi and Tata. They are really pioneer. They have made the system, they have made the scale, they have made the legacy. But there was something which I always felt like I'm unfinished, and this kind of gap which I try to fulfill when I came into my own journey. So that's what.
Vijay Kumar, you're clearly a very intelligent and a very bold entrepreneur. We look forward to celebrating the success of your company in the next few years and having you back on the show soon as well.
Yeah, thank you for kind words and your time. Yeah.
Thank you.